Well, what is happening, Godzilla fans and movie fans alike? Welcome back to the channel. I am D-Al, and this is another episode of the In-Depth D-Alysis podcast. And I am joined once again. This has been a long time since we were both in the same room. I'm joined by my close friend and kaiju monster Godzilla enthusiast, Nick Folson.
Hello there. It's been too long. I hope you've been doing well. How have you been doing?
I've been all right. A lot's been going on. It's been a bit chaotic. You know, the holidays are coming up, so just trying to get everything in order.
Here's to surviving another year.
Hey,
we're almost at the end of the year. Here's surviving another year.
Yes, exactly. But today we have a special one for you. I don't know why you guys thought we weren't going to talk about this. Of course, we're going to talk about this. We are going to talk about the newest Japanese-made Godzilla film, Godzilla Minus One.
Yes,
we had to talk about this because this film has been blowing up in the past month or so. Everybody's been raving about it. Like, I haven't seen like a Japanese Godzilla film be talked about this much in the States in a long time.
No, I don't even know when. Because mostly it's been the MonsterVerse,
right?
And I think Shin's that, and that was 4 years ago. 2016.
Jesus.
There's your friendly reminder, everyone. Time is an illusion and everything is cyclical.
Yes.
Like, it's maddening.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about this. We're gonna go full spoiler discussion. This movie came out.
Well, I think first non-spoilers, just to give anyone who has not seen it, because there's always somebody who's like, so watch it, give them a little non-spoiler. Then I think we can go into spoilers.
Okay, sure. I would just
tiny bits non-spoilers, because
sure
there's a lot we need to talk about that are very much spoilers.
Sure. I will start with my expectations going in and give my general thoughts. We both will give our general thoughts, and then we'll slowly get into spoiler territory. I was just thinking this movie came out at the beginning of December, and everybody's talking about how great it is, so I'm assuming a lot of people have already seen it already. But
you know the math.
Yeah, them casuals out there still waiting to do stuff. But anyway, let us get into Godzilla Minus One. So it's been a while since we heard much from Godzilla on the big screen. Obviously, the last time we talked about it was Godzilla vs. Kong. We reviewed all the MonsterVerse movies, by the way. If you haven't seen it, I have a playlist on my channel, and you can see all the reviews there. But the last thing we talked about was Godzilla vs. Kong.
That was 2020?
2021.
2021. 2 years.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Mm-hmm. And I really, really enjoyed Godzilla vs. Kong. It slowly ended up being my personal favorite, and I know that's like a hot take for a lot of people because I know there's messy stuff in the movie. I know there's some stuff that doesn't add up, but it just was a childhood dream seeing Godzilla and Kong on the same screen together, so I had a blast with it. But I've enjoyed all the MonsterVerse films. I love the 2014 Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of Monsters was great. So I don't know. As far as cinematic universes, like, this is probably one of the best other than Marvel.
I mean, it's the only one besides Marvel. It really is. Like, when you think about it, the DCU is pretty much like after Aquaman and Lost Kingdom, that's pretty much going to be gone.
Yeah.
That's going to be gone with the DCU. The Dark Universe is long dead. Who remembers the Dark Universe from Universal?
Yeah,
oh,
I really hope they try to bring that back.
Like, I maybe with this new Nosferatu movie that Robert Eggers is making, that looks really good. Like, we just got a first glimpse at William Dafoe in it.
Mm-hmm.
It looks great, but like, this is literally, it is now the MCU and the MonsterVerse are like the only two big cinematic universes that are still ongoing. Yeah. And that is insane to think of. Like, for a Godzilla fan, just think, we now have Hollywood movies that treat the character with respect, that weren't just made as cash grabs. Obviously, all movies are made to make money, but like, you can tell the people who are behind this care. It's not like in 1998 when Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin made it. Now they've made interviews going out like, we didn't care. We didn't care. We just wanted to make a monster attack New York. We didn't care about Godzilla. It's true. Like, you can look up these interviews he's made years later. It was just Toho wanted to rush out an American Godzilla, and it came back to bite them. And then literally because of that, they came back to make the Millennium series. So it was a win at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been kind of quiet. I mean, the Godzilla vs Kong was a financial success, even with it being day and date on Max. So that was great. And they obviously announced that they were going to make more after this. Like I think it was just going to be a direct continuation of Godzilla vs Kong, which I'm up for that.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping to see other monsters from the Toho verse come in, but I don't know how Toho's feeling about using the properties right now. It's been kind of rocky.
Yeah, and honestly, they got the big four already for Toho, so it's like unless like the only one that we all want is Anguirus, but I don't know if we're going to get him because we already got Godzilla, of course. We got Rodan, we got Mothra, we got King Ghidorah, we got Mecha Godzilla, we got Toho. What Toho sees as their big five monsters. So it's just.
I think in Garrus,
I think
Gigan and Destroya. I think
everyone wants
and
Destroy.
get Jaguars thrown in there a little bit too much.
Actually, no. Speaking of Godzilla, we have to talk about the elephant in the room.
What?
He's 60 years old. We had to talk about his anniversary.
That's right. I was getting to that.
I'll say his anniversary because speaking of Jet Jaguar, Toho made a short film celebrating because it was Jet Jaguar's, I think, 50th. Like you can look this up later. 50th something anniversary of Godzilla versus Megalon, where he had his first appearance.
Yeah,
and they made a short film with him and Godzilla teaming up again using the suits, using a new Jet Jaguar suit and the Final Wars Goji design from 2004. They still have that suit. They use that. And they not only that, they made a new CGI movie of Godzilla versus Megalon in this kind of this new post Heisei universe where it's kind of assuming that the Godzilla is Godzilla Jr. from the Heisei are now fully grown up to be the king of the monsters from Destroyer. It's kind of like that way, but they're both very good. And it's just maddening that this Godzilla is 1954 and he's still going strong to this day. It's insane. And we get crazy about our superheroes are over 80 something years old, and we have Godzilla still going strong. Like this franchise is still going strong since 1954. Like we had a lull. Like I don't think anyone would have even thought after 2004 we will be here with the Monsterverse, Shin Godzilla, now -1, movie number 37 in this franchise. 37 movies. Would we be here in 2004 saying, oh yeah, there's going to be more? Don't wait, there's going to be more. We were all like, sure, right, okay. And now we're still going strong. It's honestly a great time to be a kaiju fan, to be a Godzilla fan, because we got, I think, as many people said on X and Twitter and social media, it's just mad crazy how we have now two universes. We have, our popcorn, cheesy superhero flicks with the Monsterverse now, and we have our thought-provoking think pieces of, of Japan with the Toho films. It's just that's just great to have. It's like you can have either or now. And
I'm so tired of this tribalism too. Ever since -1 came out, and like people were trying to be like, oh, -1 is so much better film than the Monsterverse.
I've heard this because I stay off that.
Yeah, when I'm hearing people review it, like they're seeing like how well made this movie is with like not even twice the budget that the Monsterverse movies have, and like the well, we're going to get into it when we talk about the movie, but like people are saying how much better this movie is, and they're looking at the Monsterverse stuff, be like, why can't the Monsterverse movies be like this, man? This is what we want, man.
It's like people forget they're appealing to two different audiences.
Yeah.
Like, even though Toho did an amazing thing of like actually mass releasing this movie, not just doing like a limited, I was scared for doing like a limited release schedule, like only this whole week. I was scared they were going to do that because as much as I love Ultraman and Subaraya, they're doing that they did that with Shin Ultraman, and it doesn't work. Just mass release them. People will go and see them. So I'm glad they did that, but it's like we can have both. People in Japan had both. They had, a serious one and then a silly one. You can have both. We just be glad we got this. It's ridiculous to try to be elitist and try to fight for a giant monster.
Right.
Also, I was wrong. 70th anniversary. Not 60, 70.
Jesus. We're like, yeah. So this year does mark the 70th anniversary of Godzilla. And we got, like you said earlier, we have a whole bunch of stuff between -1, the new Monarch show on Apple TV. We're about to get Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire. Like, we are eating real good as far as Godzilla content. So when it came to -1, I'll be honest, like, I mean, it looked cool, but you know how I am, if you follow the channel, you know how I am about, the Japanese versions of stuff as far as anime and like Godzilla. I'll watch it, but it's like I won't go out my way to see it. I would wait to watch it on streaming and stuff like that. And not to take away from the Japanese versions, because obviously, that's what paved the way for the stuff that we have now, but just like me being the filthy American with the language border and like having to read subtitles while trying to follow the story, it's personally harder for me. And that's how I am when I'm watching anime as well. I would rather have some sort of English dub there. But like when I saw the trailers, it looked cool. It didn't look bad. It was just, I just put it in the same category with Shin Godzilla, because I'm sorry, I wasn't a big fan of Shin Godzilla. Like, I really tried, but I'm like, I think the pacing in that movie was all over the place. I did not like the design of Godzilla. It was just really weird to me.
And you must hate that that's the face of the franchise now. You must hate it, because it pretty much is, because it used to be the old 90s one, and now Shin is the face. Well, possibly -1 may be the face as well, but now Shin he's the face of it.
I hope Minus slowly turns into the new face, because Shin ain't it. I'm sorry.
I loved Shin Godzilla when it came out. I was really excited because as an anime fan, you get Hideaki Anno saying he's gonna make a Godzilla movie, and he has been a fan of tokusatsu, the genre, since he was like a young college student. Like when he was young, he made a Ultraman fan film where he played Ultraman, and it's not like he had a mask on. He literally just had like a hoodie and a hat on, and he kept the body motions of it. Watch, it's great. Just when we found out that was coming, I was ecstatic, and then seeing the trailers and then actually watching it, I dragged my mother to go see that, and she loves Godzilla. She grew up in the 70s watching when they aired the Showa movies here in America. She grew up on that show. She loved it, and she definitely was like, it's a good movie. I don't know what they did to Godzilla, but it's a good movie. But I loved it. I loved the political intrigue, because obviously if you have been living under a rock for the past 4 years, Shin Godzilla is more of a political thriller. Not even a thriller, but political drama more than a monster movie, because it's critiquing Japan's poor reaction time to 3/11 in Japan, which was the Tohoku earthquake and the Fukushima nuclear reactor, and it was all critiquing Japan, the government's really slow reaction time to help people during that. So that was that critique, and then. I don't want to say that till we actually talk about -1, because we're still stirring the pot. We're still stirring the pot.
Yeah. So, when it came, as I said, when I saw the trailers for this, it looked pretty good. The design of Godzilla looked pretty cool. It like pretty much looked exactly like the original Godzilla from the older movies, like with more modern effects. So I was like, okay, this looks cool. Just another Godzilla movie. So. I don't think I was going to catch this in the theater. I almost was going to miss it, because
shocking.
I mean, yeah, because I already had a lot of stuff I had to watch in this month, and like in November that I haven't gotten to yet. So like this almost was going to be lost in the shuffle. And as I said, it's just like the trailers didn't like grab me. I was still in like monsterverse mode for the most part. Like I still need to watch Monarch too. And after watching the trailer for Godzilla X Kong New Empire, that was like, whoa! That was an adrenaline boost just watching that.
Trailer is maddening. I feel after watching the first time I saw it, I was like, I need to sit down. that was a lot.
Yeah, I don't smoke, but it's like I needed a blunt after watching that. I'm like, oh man. So with this, I'm like, I will catch it. I will catch it, but I'm not in a rush to watch it. But that was when the online fan base blew up about this movie. Critics, audiences everywhere was talking about, you need to see this. You have to go see this in the theater. This movie is awesome. So people were saying that this is the best film of the year. And I was like, really? It's that good? Like, even like the critics I usually like listen to their opinions, because like they don't really usually talk about the Japanese stuff. Mm-hmm. But this was the one movie that people were saying, you gotta watch this. You gotta see this. Like, that caught my attention. Like, Americans are talking about how good a Japanese Godzilla movie is. So I'm like, you know what? I'll have to catch this thing. And people are saying that this is great. This is one of the best films of the year. Like, I'm really excited to see this. So I took my girlfriend to see it. I think it was the second weekend or something like that. Second, third weekend. Sat down and watched this, and I really liked it. I see why people are buzzing about this film. My girlfriend liked it too. She's like a casual fan of Godzilla. She's not.
I have to ask about this later. It's been that long. And I have to ask about this later.
And very similar to me, like she, when it comes to Japanese, subtitles, stuff like that, she's like, I don't want to go to a movie to read. But I was like, I mean, people are saying it's really good, so it's like, maybe we can overlook that. And she did overlook it. She was like, this movie is very well written. I was surprised, and I was like, yeah, I agree. This was really well made. Yeah, this is probably. I think I'm ready to say it. This is probably one of my favorite Japanese made Godzilla films.
Ooh.
Like, this is almost, it gave me those feelings that I had when watching the original, like, Godzilla from the 50s. Like, this felt like a modern version of that, and I was really happy about that. And for people complaining in the past that, the human characters in Godzilla are a waste of time, man. We don't care about the humans, man. We're here about the monsters. They're just boggling down the film. The biggest compliment I heard about this movie, and I have to agree, the humans in this movie are very well written.
Honestly, they're probably some of the best human characters we've had in the franchise for a very long time. I honestly, I would say the last best characters to come out of a Japanese Godzilla movie, like past Shin Godzilla, because that was an ensemble piece. That was more of an ensemble piece, but like an actual protagonist that we care about. I would say Godzilla against Mechagodzilla with Akane. Like, that was really good. But like, I would say I'm in the same boat as you. I saw this the Thursday before it officially opened.
Mm-hmm.
And I adored it. I thought it was fantastic. Because I did want to talk about the director. And both director, writer, and pretty much visual effects artist. He wore
all three.
He wore all hats. Takashi Yamazaki. Because a lot of Godzilla fans may not have realized it until after looking it up, but this is not even his first rodeo touching Godzilla. This isn't even his second rodeo touching Godzilla, because he does a lot of period pieces and a lot of introspective dramas in Japan, and he made Always Sunset on 3rd Street, and in that movie he had a Godzilla cameo. You probably have seen it and not known where it came from, because this came out 2007, so this was around the drought of Godzilla, and this was like really the first time that a fully CGI Godzilla was seen. Obviously, in the Millennium movies, there were uses of CGI very sparingly, but this was the fully rendered CGI Godzilla, and honestly, it looked pretty good at the time. Like, if you've seen the cameo, it's pretty good. But then he also made movies that were addressing Japan's part in World War II, which is obviously the big thing about this movie. I think now we can say we both like the movie.
Yes,
We both like the
we
movie.
did.
Go see it.
Right
Now,
hold on. I want to put an asterisk though.
asterisk.
An
Oh,
asterisk. Yes, I did really like this movie. Did I think this was the best film of the year? No, I don't. It's one of the best probably, and it's probably not saying a lot because this year's been kind of disappointing as of late. But I do think it's one of the best. Do I think it's the best? No.
What do you think is the best movie of the year?
Across the Spider-Verse, man. That knocked my socks off. That really did, man. I even loved Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
I mean, who didn't love Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
Yeah, I mean
that was great, but like I don't know, Cat. I think I like -1 more than Across the Spider-Verse.
That's fair.
I like me some Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I like me some Spider-Man Esquire. I think it's definitely in my minus is definitely top 3, possibly 1.
Top 3.
Still honestly need to watch Oppenheimer, which don't judge me if you're saying, Nick, how have you not seen Oppenheimer yet?
Barbenheimer, man.
I saw Barbie. I saw the Barbie part of Barbenheimer, but I didn't see the Oppenheimer, so I gotta complete it.
You gotta complete it.
Barbie was great. Loved Barbie. I loved it.
I wore
pink. I did wear pink for it. I had pink, so I wore it for it. It looked good in pink. Plus, one of my husband's Shooty Gatwell was in it.
Oh,
that man. Oh, that man. Anyway, so I gotta see Oppenheimer. That's next on the list, but definitely it is possibly my movie of the year. Unless Oppenheimer comes and blows it out of the water. No pun intended.
But my thing with this movie is I go to Godzilla films for specific things. You guys know that. And I respect this movie for giving us well-written human characters. I definitely respect this movie for being able to pull off the effects and stuff that they're able to do for less than $15 million. Let me say that again. This movie only cost $15 million or less than that. Because
I'm looking it up right now for you.
Like, this is maddening. Like, you're seeing a whole bunch of these modern Hollywood blockbusters that costing $100 million, $200 million, $300 million. What is that?
And filming for this March 2022 to June 2022. That's only like what 4 months of filming.
Only 4 months, of filming.
filming.
And this movie looks like it's at least a $50 million production. At least. Like, this is probably one of the reasons why I see critics being like, why can't these modern movies be learn from this? Because like with this and like the creator that came out not too long ago that was like, how much did that cost? Like I think it was $80 million. Yeah. But like even then it's like these movies are proving that you don't need to spend a lot of money to make a really good looking movie and very well written.
I'd say maybe the creator will bring back the mid budget movie. Maybe because really, honestly, I think streaming kind of took over the mid-budget movies. All like your mid-budget, like
unless you're Netflix.
Yeah. Which honestly, I have to see that new movie with Julia Roberts and Mahershala Ali.
Oh yeah.
What's it? Not Let the Right One In, is it?
I forgot what it's called,
but
I'm sure they put it in the comments.
Yeah, you'll look it up. You have the editors.
But like. So anyway, the reason why I don't love this as much as everyone else does, I think it's really good. I'm glad it's doing well. And this is definitely a statement and I respect it. But the reason why I don't love it is because, in my opinion, you guys probably won't agree with this. In my opinion, I needed more Godzilla. I needed more Godzilla because the moments we have Godzilla in here, it is fantastic. Once again, I am blown away with what they're able to do with Godzilla with not even that much money. And he looks great. And this is like the scariest I've seen Godzilla in like a long time, man. Like he's not a good guy. He's not an anti-hero. He's a straight up menace. He like every time he was on screen, I was like, oh my God, what's about to happen? But it felt like Godzilla was secondary to everything else going on. It felt like a World War II movie that had Godzilla in it. And maybe that doesn't bother people. And as you said, that's like the foundation of Godzilla in the beginning. So like it's just emphasizing that, which is fine. Me personally, I just wish that Godzilla was utilized more into the plot. Now it's not Godzilla 2014 bad, but like
I would not even say it's not that bad. But
no,
it's definitely. I think I have to disagree with that. I think he has a presence all throughout. It's like Phantom of the Opera, where he may not show up a lot, but you can feel his presence. You can feel he is still turning the cogs for everything in this movie. Like he is still central to the plot. He may not be in there a lot, but I think he's used. Oh, when he's used, he's absolutely used. And honestly, I think I agree with many people. What many people say that this is the Jaws of Godzilla movies. Like this is very much the Jaws of Godzilla movies.
Yeah, there's definitely a bunch of Jaws homages, and yeah, it's absolutely great. So, are you ready to slowly transition into?
Well, I'm about to hit the sport. I'm pressing the button.
All right, here we go. Spoiler territory from this point forward.
Spoilers, please. Non-spoiler review. It's great. Go watch it.
Go see it.
Now, spoilers. 3, 2, 1. So let's talk about Takashi Yamazaki.
Sure.
So, like I said before, he does a lot of period pieces. He does like one of his most well-known movies was kind of critiquing and addressing the kamikaze pilots in World War II. Because a lot of people don't know about Japan's army World War II. Because obviously, what a lot of people know, World War II in Japan was on the Axis powers with Germany, hit with the nuclear bombs. That's really it for most Western audiences. But pretty much, just like how here in America we had the draft, where people were pretty much forced. In Japan, pretty much being the army, because obviously coming from shoguns and samurai and whatnot, that was seen as like an honorable thing. Like you had to be part of the army. You had to do it.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of the kamikaze pilots and whatnot, the people who were pilots who were pretty much committing suicide runs and whatnot, a lot of those people really did not want to do it. Like a lot of just regular people were like, I don't really want to do it. And we see that with our protagonist, Koichi Tsukishima, played by Ryunosuke Kamika.
Mm-hmm.
He was great.
He was
fantastic. And we see him, when we first see him coming to Odo Island, which a lot of Godzilla fans are going to recognize as that's the island where we first saw Godzilla, the island where we came when we first saw him in 1954. And we meeting him with the mechanics, with Tachibana and the mechanics, Tachibana played by Muneteki Aoki, and he was great. He was great. We just see him like, hey, what's up? And Tsukishima's like, my plane isn't working, and he's like, oh, aren't you supposed to be a kamikaze pilot? And Tsukishima's like, but as Tsukishima is looking out at the ocean, we see a bunch of deep sea fish just rising from the ocean. And like, what is that? And just later that night, they're just all having drinks and partying and just relaxing. One guy's like, I always heard a legend on Odo Island about this thing called Godzilla. And then just you hear a roar. You're like, what is that? And just out of nowhere, a non-mutated, irradiated Godzilla just comes.
Yeah, he's like dinosaur size.
He is more dinosaur here than he's ever been. And he just wrecks house, like actively attacking people. Like this is the last time we've seen a Godzilla actively go after people in a very long time. And like not only that, he's stomping on people. He's not even eating people. He's just grabbing people in his mouth and just tossing them. Like it's like actively like you're like, oh my god. And then vicious. Tachibana telling Tsukishima, get in your plane and shoot this guy. Shoot him down. And Tsukishima is just
hesitates.
Not even hesitates. He's just frozen and feel like, and literally just Godzilla just like doesn't attack him. He doesn't attack Tsukishima or Tachibana, which I've heard a lot of people allude to. War. You're not a non-combatant. No one touches you, but you're a combatant. You die. Right. There's another war allegory. There's many war allegories for this movie. But after the dawn, after the day settles, after that night, Tachibana is just livid with Tsukishima. Like, why didn't you fire? My men are dead. Literally, it's him and Tachibana are the only two survivors of that whole incident. And both of them return home from the war, from Odo Island to just Tokyo in ruins. Like, because a lot of people, just think of Hiroshima and Nagasaki from the atomic bombing. No, Tokyo was hit too. Tokyo got it worse. They were firebombed.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember back in Shin Godzilla, when Shin does the atomic breath, where it's just that huge plume of fire, that's what that was alluding to. Like, Tokyo was pretty much scorched earth. Nothing was left. I believe, over 200,000 people died from that.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that's what's left. People have nothing left. And we see Tsukishima looking at pretty much the ruins of his house, of his family's home. And we see I believe she was his next door neighbor or family friend, Sumiko, played by Sakura Ando. And she's like, hey, what are you doing? She's like, hey,
what are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
Why are you alive?
Why? Literally, she's like, why are you alive? Yeah. Like, and Tsukishima is just like, are my family here? Like, where's they, man? And Sumiko's just like, no, they're dead. Everyone's dead, and you should have died too. Like, she's like, you should have died too for your country, done your duty, and like
you're a coward for not sacrificing your life.
Literally, you are a coward for not giving your life to do this, and that is one of the big things with this movie of just Tsukishima's survivor guilt, not only from the war, but also with Godzilla as well. Because not only then we just jump to Tsukishima just trying to find something, like some food, just a living in this post-war Japan. Because obviously that's that. If anyone's wondering why is it called -1, because
why is it called -1?
The reason why it's called -1. This is gonna blow your mind. You ready?
Okay.
So post-war Japan, literally, it's in the trailer too. Post-war Japan had nothing. They were literally at 0. You add Godzilla to that, literally from 0 to minus to -1.
Yeah.
Now it's worse. It's literally like the joke. Oh, what could possibly go wrong? Something goes wrong. So that's why it's called -1, because Godzilla is setting them back even worse. But we'll get to Godzilla. We're not even at Godzilla. Yeah, we've had tastings of like pre-radio Godzillas, because then we meet.
But before we get into that, I do just want to mention real quick about that Koichi is the guy, right?
Yeah, Ryunosuke Kamiki.
That's the Kamikaze.
Yes, that's our lead. That's the actor's name. His real name, Ryunosuke
Kamiki. I'm not gonna remember that.
He played Tsukishima.
Okay, so what I loved in that whole sequence, like, we're already getting motivation from the main protagonist. Like, we're already feeling bad for him with this situation. I love how, like, immediately you're just feeling for this character. You're feeling the sense of dread and hopelessness, and put in like just in a corner of like, what's the right choice? Neither of them is the right choice, but he's thinking of the lesser of two evils at that point. It's like he's going to be looked at as a bad person either way. But like, I just like that struggle of like, he wants to live, but it's like at the same time, it's like
he alludes to it later with Noriko.
Mm-hmm.
Noriko, do I have do I have the right to be happy?
Right.
Do I am I still in a nightmare? Am I waking up? And it's he does such a great job. Absolutely fantastic. And we really get in, as we're going to talk about he meets Noriko, and she's played by Minami Hamabi, who she will be familiar to Kamen Rider fans because she was the second female lead in Shin Kamen Rider, which came out this year as well. And we see her with a baby, and we're like, and Koichi helps them, but he's like, "Is this your kid?" And she's like, "No, I just found this kid. Her parents are just gone because, like I said, people are just gone from this firebombing. No one has a home. Everyone is just scrounging to just have something of a job, something of food, food." And throughout, pretty much, it goes from 1945, and I really like this. It goes through the months and the years, like from 1945 to 1947. 7 throughout this
Mhm.
post-war Japan rebuilding, and we see Tsukishima and Noriko actually like build a house, like try to take care of the baby Akiko. Just like, even though they're like, oh, we're not a couple, we're just living together, which I do like that. Like,
I even liked like when he's first just given this baby out of nowhere, and she just leaves. Like, once again, a great character growth is that like she doesn't just leave it alone. Like, he doesn't just give it to somebody else. He actually cares for the kid.
Right.
So it's like, once again, showing that he's not a bad person, and is like, so it's like just adding more to the growth. Like, he's willing to help, even though it's like he's just put in a weird situation.
And then we just see, like, literally, if you played Fallout, it's literally just like Fallout. Like, he and Noriko rebuild a house, but it's pretty much a shack. It's it's just wood and some paper to cover up everything. It's pretty much a shack, and you could call it a house, but it's not a much. But Tsukishima gets a job. He finds he's a job destroying old landmines, and we meet the rest of our cast. Tachibana, played by not Tachibana. I apologize, but we get Oda. No, we get.
You got it. You got it.
Thank you. We get Noda, played by Hidataki Yoshioka. We get Akitsu, played by Kuranosuke Sasaki, and we also get Mitsushima, played by Yuki Yamada, our regular other leads of the movie, the boatmen.
Yeah,
and they're like, yo, we like pretty much we have this pretty much a small wooden boat to to destroy these landmines. And Tsukishima's like, this is it. And it's like, yeah, this is it.
That's it.
And they were just great. All of them were great.
They all had like their distinct personalities.
The captain, he was gruff, but you could tell he had a heart of gold.
Yeah,
Noda was my favorite character of the whole movie.
Yeah,
he was the scientist. He was great. And then we had
the cadet,
Michizima, the kid. He was like, I'm
ready for war, man.
He's ready, like the young kid. Like, I want to fight. I want to protect my country. And he had a great arc, a really good arc of like this. The captain, like, dude, no, you don't.
No, you don't want.
You don't want to be in war.
Right.
Go live. And it comes back, and it comes up to great catharsis in the end, in the climax. But they're destroying old American mines.
Right.
Once again, deep sea fish are rising, and during all, and actually even before that, we actually see, I think really for the first time on screen, it's always been alluded to in movies and also in side media, we actually see Godzilla get hit by the nuke. We actually see him get nuked by the nuke, and we see the Castle Bravo, the old stock footage that we've all seen of nuclear bombings,
right?
And we just see Godzilla's eye opening, and the blast hitting him, and we hear him scream out, and his skin getting burned. So we finally see Godzilla getting radiated, and then as our boys are doing their job, the fish start rising, and we see Godzilla coming after them like a shark.
Yeah.
And you probably see the clips. The clips have been posted online. It's in the trailer. And that's terrifying. Just this giant monster just chasing after you in this small boat.
That was probably, like, in my opinion, that's probably one of the scariest moment in the movie for me. Because, like, literally Godzilla is just tailing
beeline,
like,
nothing,
like literally just staring right straight at them while they're trying to drive
right.
And
then Godzilla has one of the mines in his mouth, and literally just Tsukishima's like, "Wait, I got this!" Shoots it, blows half of his face off,
and then I was like, "It ain't that simple."
And then you see him regenerate, like you actually see him regenerate, and it's like, oh.
Now, even though I didn't like Shin Godzilla, I think that's something they also did in that movie too, that he regenerates as well, which I thought that was pretty sick.
It's usually been a thing with Godzilla, like a healing factor.
Yeah.
But I think this one is more just healing. Well, Shin was more about evolution and mutation. Because like, remember, he always second form, third form, fourth form, and then the fifth form. That was more evolutionary mutation. This is just pretty much, it's a healing factor. And it's.
Yeah, that's the straight up. That moment was the straight up Jaws. Straight up Jaws, right there.
And it was honestly great. And like this Godzilla form, when I first saw it, it was pretty much this form has already been used. Actually, it's a repolished model that Yamazaki used for the Godzilla the Ride in Universal Studios Japan. Mm-hmm. He also was a part of that. He directed and helped make that for Universal Studios. You can probably find it online if you want to see what the ride is. It's a 4D ride, but he took that Godzilla design and retooled and polished it for this movie, and it's honestly a great design. It's one of the smallest Godzillas because I think it's about on par or smaller than what the original Godzilla in 54 was. Mm-hmm. But it's honestly, even though he's small, he's vicious. He is vicious. Like, it's in his eyes. This one is definitely leans more into the eye. His eyes. His eyes are just nothing but anger. Yeah. Anger. And I think let's talk about the Ginza incident. When Godzilla, because not only does he chase the guys in the boat, he also he gets shot at after healing from the mine. He gets shot at by a Japanese warship, and Godzilla just destroys it immediately. And then we see the first, literally, the guy's like, oh god, and then literally we just see a bright blue light underneath, and just boom,
like that. Man, I knew it wasn't going to be that easy, but when the warship came in and took him down, it's okay, he's probably sedated for a little bit, and they're going to get out of here. But no, immediately it's that entire warship destroyed, gone. Right, it's
and then
my god,
we get to Ginza in Tokyo, and it's pretty much a straight if we got ever a modern remake of 1954 Godzilla. This was it.
That was it.
Because I also have to talk about the music. The music
is really
good.
The
music by Naoki Oda is great. It's perfect for this movie. It is impactful without being overstated. Because literally, we see Noriko. She gets a job working in Ginza. And Tsukishima's like, oh god, she's there. And she's on the train. And the train stops. Because the train stops. Oh, not before anything, because also a train got thrown on the rails, just boom. Yeah. And literally, Noriko looks up, and Godzilla's just standing there, and she's like, "So that's Godzilla." And the theme kicks in for the first time in this movie, and it's not. And
it's like a variation. It's not like
I believe it is the version from King Kong versus Godzilla, because this has the bum 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 afterwards, because there's always been variations of the theme, but it kicks in, and it's not even it's a oh god, what is he going to do? And Godzilla wrecks house. He is trampling buildings. He's actively attacking people. Yeah. The last time a Japanese Godzilla really has done that was GMK in 2001. That's when that was an actual malicious Godzilla, and even they allude to in 1954 with the reporters on the tower. Because if you remember that, the reporters in Gojira, there are these reporters who are really reporting Godzilla. This may be our last broadcast. We're about to go, and Godzilla is literally chewing on on Tokyo Tower, and they fall to their death. And we see that here. We don't see it in Tokyo Tower, but they're on a building as Godzilla's destroying everything, and Godzilla just destroys the building, and half of it is falling with them still there, and he is a menace, and you think, oh, it can't get worse, and then you just see I love how his dorsal plates are for this,
it pops up,
jutting out, glowing blue and just jutting out, bop 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 bop, and he's charging, and just goes up like a gun, and literally like a gun, boom, shoots his atomic beam, and it's pretty much a nuke. It is a literal nuke. He shoots, and literally, it's a nuke. A mushroom cloud goes off, and the thing that makes it even more just, you want this Godzilla to go down. He roars, but that's not a roar of pain. That's a roar of triumph. He is proud of what he did.
Yes.
And during this whole time, Tsukishima came back to Ginza to get her. And and literally from the shockwave, Noriko pushes Skishima into an alley, and she just gets shot back by the blast, and literally we just lost Noriko. And
if I could go ahead.
And obviously Skishima is still battered by all of this, and it just starts raining black rain. Which, if you hear actual tales from the bombings in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
The bombs actually changed the weather to make it just rain black. Wow. And as Godzilla's roaring, Skishima is roaring back at him in just rage and pain. And I will be honest, viewers, I cried. This was the first time I cried in this movie because it's just great. It's like just you want to see this Godzilla go down. And I would say the second time I cried was with Akiko, when everyone came back and had Noriko's funeral. And literally Akiko's like, "Where's mommy? Where's mommy?" This Sae Nagatani. This was her first movie. This is her motion picture debut. She kills it. I'm usually very hard on child actors because just they're not good. And it's not the fault of the child because they're a child. But however they taught her, directed her, was just great. And she cried. And I usually am a hard guy. I'm usually not one to cry.
Yeah, right.
That was the second time I cried. I was like, oh. And so they decide they have to do something to stop God.
Before you do, I did want to talk more about the entire sequence because that also, man, there's so many really good parts in this. Because I almost said the him following the boat was great, but like this whole sequence in the city, like that man. I did not cry though. Unfortunately, I am a hard ass too, so it's like it does take a lot to make me cry. But I did feel that. Man, the pain in what's his name? Skishima's face when he's screaming when Godzilla does his roar, like I felt that. It was like he lost someone that he really cared about. Like even though he wasn't admitting it at the time, he was still conflicting being, the girl's like, adoptive, owner or whatever, but like just feeling the pain on his face, like it was crazy. I will nitpick a little bit though about when she pushed him into the alley. You could have just
I'm just saying you could have jumped in there as well.
I get from a storyteller's perspective why
she didn't have time. Like I was like I did think that too. Like I'm like, God, there was enough room. But
did you think that that she was dead before they? Oh, yeah. So you didn't think she was coming back?
I thought they did. Like you saw her, she got shot back from the shockwave.
Yeah, I mean that looked definitive, but there was something in the back of my mind that I was thinking.
I was expecting it with this one. Like I was expecting no one was safe. No one was safe. Everyone was fair game in this movie. So I was really expecting she's gone. Like they just killed her off. But then
that's a jarring thing. But also like I want to talk. Remember when she was on the train and the Godzilla was coming in, and then obviously this is very similar to what they did not too long ago in Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 with the train sequence when she was falling off at the end of the train when he and Godzilla was breaking it apart. That was a really cool sequence. I got to keep reminding myself this is a $15 million movie and they're doing all this stuff.
And also that happened in 54. He was chewing up the train, and it's like
in that. Man, suspense, intensity, like gripping. Like I actually cared about what was going on with the humans. I actually was concerned for them. Mm-hmm. Like even like there was this one silly moment where the news people were trying to like follow the activity of Godzilla when they're on top of the skyscraper or whatever, and then they ended up falling to their deaths. That was a little bit silly, but that's what I come to expect with some of the tropes they do with that. But like. Yeah, all of that was very well done. And going back to the atomic breath. Now, you guys know, if you guys have seen our review for the Monsterverse, you guys know how much I loved his atomic breath in 2014 specifically when we first saw it with the and then the
like a
blow up scale coming up. Yeah, like I thought that was great. This gave it a run for its money when the spike was popping out of his
Shin
thing.
Gave it a run for its money.
I mean, Shin too. I'll admit, Shin gave it a run for its money
this
too. I'm not gonna lie, but this one, like this, as you said earlier, this wasn't just treated as a typical atomic breath that he does. It's treated like a nuke because when he even blasts it, comes out of his mouth, you don't just see like just a ray coming out like a atomic ray. It's like you said, it's literally like a bullet that just like, and then nuclear explosion right there and there, and it just everything demolished. The mushroom cloud, the force of the impact just causing like hurricanes, just like Jesus. It's masterful. It is freaking masterful. That's all I can say. Like, man, it's crazy how scary Godzilla is in this. Like, you know, it's absolutely nice. I'm pretty much emulating what you said.
He's a menace. He is an actual like threat. And then they decide, and then it's revealed Noda was a former scientist during the war effort, because the Japanese government is pretty much going like, we're not touching this. We're not touching this. And then the American government, which is one critique I do have, American government, and we see footage of General MacArthur, MacArthur's in stock footage. Their American government's going like, we're not going to touch with this because we're dealing with the Soviets because of the Cold War stuff, which is a little like I think that's still too early in during this time, because let's be real, if this really did happen, the American government during this time would absolutely jump in.
Yeah, but like, it's hard to believe that they won't. They didn't want to do anything.
It is one like critique I have. Like,
because this is a big threat too. It's like you can't just ignore this. He's destroying towns and all this.
He literally wiped out an entire ward.
So it's like, no, you can't just sit back and hope stuff will happen.
But I get the intention for this movie, because the thing this movie is trying to say, that it's really the people. It is the common man who has to deal with this, because pretty much former generals and Noda get together with pretty much any able-bodied man, any man who was a soldier is here, and they corral them, being like, we're on our own. We have a plan to kill him, but like, we are on our own. The Japanese government is not doing anything to stop this. And all the soldiers like, are we going to die from this? Because like, that's a huge thing. They were like, we gave our lives nearly during this war. Is there a chance we're going to die from this? And Noda, who comes up with the plan to kill Godzilla, is like, no, and I think it was either Noda or the general who was like, you've already given your lives for this country. We are not asking you to. We're not forcing you to do this. You can leave if you want. I think only like a few of the men left, but most of them stayed. And were like, no, we're going to do this to save our home. Right. This is our home. This is our country. We got to save this. And it works because like I said, the Japanese government during this time were just like, get them in war, like get them in war. They're gonna fight for their honor, for their country, and and then literally once this happens, the Japanese government's just like, which is the little because Japan did do some not very good things in World War II. I'm not going to get into it here because that's not the point of this, but that was one critique a lot of people did have, was like, it really made, like, some people were like, it made Japan feel like a little puppy dog being kicked. But that's just the reality of our world. Like, that was the reality of World War II. Yeah. But they decide. You have anything you want to add to? I feel like I've taken over the whole podcast.
Like you pretty much gave us a walk step by step, which that's awesome. It's great. You probably did a better job than I did. But probably the only other thing is oh, I guess there's one scene that we talked about. We kind of lightly touched on it earlier, but there's this one scene where they were all having dinner at their shed thing, and then the little girl called I keep forgetting Koishi's Skishima. I'm gonna call it Skishima. Call it Skishima Daddy, and he was like, I'm not your father. Like, no, I'm not. This is not your parent. And then all the other, the other guys are giving him crap about it. It's like, you mean you guys made this shed together. You guys are living together. It's like that's pretty much and this is what you wanted, right? This is your new start. Because he's trying to figure out what for himself what's there to worth living for. Like, am I able to have a new start? And then he's having this new start with with what's her name? Noriko, and this little girl. And it's like this is her way. This is their way to start off fresh. And it's like he's rejecting that. It's like he's rejecting, like, I guess you could call it a blessing.
I mean, like I said, he has that, like, do I deserve to be happy? Like, he still has his guilt and his PTSD of, do I have the right to be happy?
Mm-hmm.
I'm alive, but others are dead. Do I like what survive? So he has some severe survivor's guilt.
Yeah, and it's like it's gotten to a point where even she's like, she feels like she has to get a job for herself to
you have to just help him.
And it's like she's leaving it open that she's open to starting family with them, all three of them, but it's like he has to really want it, and it just makes it all the more tragic when we think that she got killed off, and it's like he was taking it for granted, and he's really feeling it now. Like I should have
done something.
Should have stepped up. It's that's some really good writing, man.
It's really good writing, and then he decides, like, they go like, do you know anyone who's a mechanic who can help build planes? And Skishima remembers Tachibana, so he finds a way to get Tachibana to come after him. He intentionally makes calling him out, and Tachibana confronts him about it, and it's like, no, I need you to help me. We have to stop this.
Yeah.
And Tachibana is still really livid at him for Odo Island. And
he gets punched in the first time.
He beats him up. He literally beats him in his own house.
Yeah.
And Skishima decides, I'm gonna do this. There was a top secret plane for World War II that Tachibana and Skishima are gonna rebuild, and Skishima's gonna fly it. But Skishima is going to fulfill his duty as a kamikaze pilot, and this is what he's gonna do. Mm-hmm. But while Tachibana is repairing the plane, the mechanics, he notices something. We don't know what it is at first.
Right.
We're just like, he notices something.
Yeah.
But then we cut to the actual operation and plan. The operation and plan is they're going to pretty much crush Godzilla. They're going to use some gases, like I think it was furon gases, to pretty much have Godzilla fall to the bottom of the ocean, where the pressure will crush him. And then the pressure will pressurize him. And then these balloon salesmen use pretty much like a life preserver to immediately, if that doesn't kill him, they're going to push him back up so that the sudden change in pressure, which is a real thing that happens to blobfish. If we all seen the blobfish, the reason they look like that is because when they look like regular fish in the deep sea, but once you fishing them up, they're being shot up, and the pressure is literally crushing them and causing them to explode on the inside, so they look like a blob. That is actually a real thing that happens with fish, with deep sea fish. You bring them to the surface, they will rupture.
That was one thing I was questioning when I first watched it, because I didn't really know all the physics they were trying to do with Godzilla, because at first I was thinking, you can't drown Godzilla. That's his domain. That's his habitat. What do you mean he's trying to drown Godzilla? And then there was a whole thing about the water pressure, and I was questioning, would the water pressure really affect him if he's been down there the entire time? This is me, paying attention in science when I was in high school and college.
I mean, yeah,
not at all. But
no, even any pressure will crush something he may be living in. That's mean he's plus this is still a relatively like new Godzilla. Like he's still like he's not as old as other Godzillas are, but like it still is pressure. Like it's still, like if we throw Godzilla in a black hole, he's still gonna get sucked into a black hole.
Fair enough.
But the plan goes to work. Everyone is in position. Tsukishima is luring Godzilla to the ocean, and the plan goes off. He gets crushed by the pressure, but he's still alive. He's heavily wounded, but he's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
But his spine started glowing, and literally, I was on the edge of my seat.
Like,
I was on the edge of my seat. I thought no one is safe.
Yeah, it's over.
Like it's over. But we hear pretty much it's like I hate to say it. It's like Endgame when the portals open and the portals open. We see the young kid from the ship. Hey, he's gone. Everyone has come back with their boats to help stop Godzilla. It's great. It's great. This was the other time I almost teared. I was like, yes. And Tsukishima, like as Godzilla is wounded and is being corralled by all these ships, we find out what was in the plane. We find out it was an ejector seat. Tachibana told Tsukishima, and I love this scene. He told him, like, pretty much it's the equivalent of, I forgive you, but you have to live now. You have too many things now to just give up. You have a child now. You have to live.
Mm-hmm.
And we see, well, first, we don't even know it's an ejector seat because we just see the plane land right in Godzilla's face.
Yeah, but I was like, oh, he just sacrificed himself.
We just see that Tsukishima did it and he's dead. But we see him in his ejector seat. And literally, that kills Godzilla. Godzilla pretty much blows up and just crumbles to nothingness in the ocean.
Yep.
And then everyone is cheering. Everyone's happy. We find out that Tsukishima on the boat gets a note, and we wonder like, what's the note? Mm-hmm. What is the note? He goes back to the mainland, to a hospital, and we see Noriko is alive. This was the last time in this movie I cried that Noriko is alive.
Yeah,
heavily. She is scarred. We see the camera pan. We see a black scar like marking around her neck. But she is alive. They can finally, with this, and literally, Noriko asked him, "Is your war over now? Mm-hmm. Can we finally be happy?"
Right.
And we just see this black mark, and as we see the black mark, we head back to the ocean, and we see just a piece of Godzilla fall into the ocean. And all of a sudden, we hear the theme, and we see it start to regenerate again. And we go to black, and that's -1.
Man,
that's great. And I know a lot of people are wondering, what does the black mark mean? I think the black mark is.
I didn't think too much about it.
I know. I think the black mark is just to symbolize that now she has radiation burns, or sickness, or even, unfortunately, worse, she may have cancer because a lot of victims of the bombs, their skin was just burned and scars, and they got sickness from that. And a lot of them died from cancers from those bombs. I really think that's what it is. I know some people are like, "Oh, is now she going to be like Godzilla or anything?" I don't think that's the case. I really think that's overanalyzing it, but I think it's just she's now just scarred.
It's going to be like the twins with Mothra. It's like, oh, there's connection with the Godzilla.
I don't think that. But that's the Shoji. That's more mythological. They have a reason to be like that. But I don't think that's with Godzilla. I think that's just she is now a scarred, a victim of the bomb, just as he was a victim of the bomb. I think that's what they're alluding to, in my opinion. But this is the first time since GMK again that we see that ending with Godzilla. Just a piece of him is starting to regenerate again. Because in GMK, it ended. We were on the ocean floor, and we just see Godzilla's heart start beating again as the theme plays out, and it's just.
That was like some of the one of the few criticisms I hear about this movie. The minor thing is like, did we need to see them alluding to the fact that Godzilla need to come back? Couldn't it just be like a standalone thing and he's just gone for good?
I mean, it's probably going to be a standalone. I know Toho has brought up to Yamazaki that, hey, you want to do a sequel? I don't think there will be a sequel. And plus,
it doesn't need a sequel.
This one doesn't need it. It has told its story full stop. And even if GMK came out in 2001, and that didn't get a sequel. That just got another Godzilla movie. Like, it was standalone. If we get it, like, that's probably what's going to be the case. Just another standalone piece for this. I don't think we need to expand more on this universe, this characters.
And also with it regenerating, as you said, this was like in GMK, and then there's other examples where like standalone movies where they allude to the fact that the creature or the whatever the thing is can come back, like the Iron Giant. Like they alluded to the fact that the Iron Giant could come back, so it's like it's not a big deal. It still was a standalone story. It wasn't like teasing to other things. It's just just a little stinger. There's nothing wrong with that. The director, he said he wanted to do comic book movies. I think
he wants to do Star Wars.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's what it is. Star Wars.
That's what he wants to do. And honestly, I would be very interested to see Star Wars from Yamazaki, or even more. Honestly, I want more stuff like Star Wars Visions.
I do too.
I want more of that for Star Wars.
Yeah.
I feel he would do a great job with Star Wars. Just now that the Skywalker stuff is done and over, now this is what I want more of. Just go crazy. Like, do something in the High Republic. Do something in the in-between of the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy. Like, now we have full reign of Star Wars to do something. We don't have to see what Luke and Leia and Darth Vader's doing. We don't have to do. We can do that if we want to. We can go to that.
We're still getting the Rey movie.
Like, we're still getting those. Yeah. But like this is my issue with Star Wars. Why I'm like really tired of it. It makes the universe feel small. It makes them feel small.
Yeah.
That's why I despise Rey being a Palpatine, because that means she was just a part of like this tiny. Go big. It's a universe. Universes are huge, people. They're so huge. We're still confounding universes.
Yeah.
And we're so huge. Go big. Go to other parts. Go to other planets. We don't always have to stick to desert planet or lava planet. We don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Go crazy. So I would be very interested in what Yamazaki would have to say about Star Wars.
I would too, especially because he knows how to tell a good story with limited resources. So I'm sure they would give him more money to work with, but like I think he knows how to break down stories to the fundamentals and how to get you immediately invested. And it seems like he would want to take risks if he did do Star Wars. So I'm hoping they give him an opportunity.
And also, I think it works with Star Wars, just like what his viewpoints of as a filmmaker is. Hope. That's definitely I would say that's the big theme of this movie is hope for the future. It is like, as even Tachibana says, you have a future now. You have to live for other things. You have to live for the future. Like, even if things are at their lowest, you have to keep going to go for that future. Even if it's for tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, a decade, you have to keep going for that hope. Because that's what, like, even as Optimus Prime said, hang on to your dreams. The future is literally built on dreams.
Yeah.
So you have to keep going forward at your lowest. I really think we all need to hear a message like that, especially from like these past 3 years. We need to hear something like that of keep going on. It is a low point. If the characters in this movie can survive from literally -1, from -1, from a negative standpoint, and to keep going forward, then we can too.
I agree. On an off note, since we're talking about Star Wars, you gonna watch Rebel Moon?
No.
No?
You already know my opinions on Zack Snyder,
but it's not DC this time. It's like
it's literally the Futurama joke. I'm gonna make my own Star Wars with blackjack and hookers. So no, I'm not gonna watch it. That's all it is. It's just that's literally the joke. Like I'm gonna build my own theme park with blackjack and hookers. Like that's from Futurama. It's literally what it is. It's like I'm not gonna give Zack Snyder. Like I'm sure I've heard he's very lovely. I've heard he's a very nice guy, nice chill guy. I just don't want to give that the time of day because Snyder Bros. I'm so done with them.
I'm with you,
so done with them. I'm not going to give it the time of day.
No, I'm a Snyder fan, but these Snyder Bros are like really making this like difficult to enjoy.
Plus, like trying to review bomb movies for like when Rebel Moon was not even out yet. By we can tell they're review bombing because the profiles they make are like literally a month, like not even a month old, and they only have one review. I wonder what that review is for. Stop it. You're not helping him. You're just raking his name through the mud to make sure he doesn't get work again. Stop it.
Yeah, please stop. Please stop. I'm looking forward to seeing Rebel Moon because, this was originally supposed to be his pitch for Star Wars, so I want to see what his vision is. And it's something different, and like since he can do his own stuff, like he doesn't have to be confined to the contrived mess of the universe that Star Wars is right now. I'm like Star Wars, there's still some good stuff in Star Wars. Like I'm one of the people that just it's kind of messy right now. But now that Snyder's able to construct his own universe and have his own ideas, I'm interested to see what it is. And it's different. It's not DC. It's his own thing. You don't have to worry about, it's not like, it's against how it is from the source material. Like, no, he's making his own source material. So.
Well, you already know what I have to say about that. So
I know. And it's like, I enjoy his DC movies, but even I have some major issues with it. But anyway, I didn't want to make this the whole tirade about it. We'll talk about Rebel Moon later on in the week. But start to close things out. Overall, this is a really good film. Really, really masterfully done movie with the little budget that it's given. This is definitely should be a statement to Hollywood saying, this is what you can do with this amount of money. You don't need to spend a whole bunch of money to get the same result. It's just like, I really hope Hollywood looks at this and other examples, like we said about The Creator, that it did similar thing. Like, I hope Hollywood looks at this and, tries harder to, get better quality in films and not having to spend so much and putting themselves in debt and all this other stuff, Well,
hopefully after the strike, they will learn something from it.
I hope so. And, for people, the longest time we criticize, we don't care about humans in Godzilla property, but this movie proves you can make well-written characters. Now, am I expecting the same quality for Godzilla X Kong? Probably not.
Probably not, because I would say, they're telling two completely different stories. I mean, we've seen literally Godzilla and Kong doing a Rocky and Apollo running together, so we know that it's going to be more superhero friendly. It's going to pretty much just be like a superhero movie. They're like, we see Kong has pretty much a power gauntlet, and Godzilla now has his new evolved look, which I do like. That look.
Pink.
It's like,
but
they're like I said, they're telling two different stories,
right?
Using the same character. But like, that's the amazing thing with Godzilla, is that he can be anything you want. If you want, him to fight other giant monsters and save the world, yay, you can have that. If you want him to be an allegory for Japan missing out on its war crimes, you can have that. If you want him to be a full stop anti-war nuclear message, you can have that. That's the great thing about this character, and that's why he has been standing for 70 years. Like, that's great. That's just great writing.
Yeah, there's room for all different kinds of properties of Godzilla. Whether you lean towards the more thought-provoking, more allegory stuff, or you want the more bombastic action monster.
Bombastic side eye. Offensive side eye.
Oh my gosh! But there's room for both. So, like, I don't agree with this tribalism. We can have both. We can enjoy both. I'm not expecting the same thing from all properties. So, enough of this, guys. But yeah, Dr. Kirk,
Chill out,
man. You telling the fan base to chill out. Good luck with that. Good luck.
We've been in this fan base for too long. We've been in a drought for like a decade. We're getting good things. Just chill and enjoy the small things,
right?
Please.
Even though I lead more towards the anti-hero Godzilla, this movie made me want to see more of the villain Godzilla because the way they utilize Godzilla in this is excellent, absolutely great.
I've always liked villain Godzilla. I've always liked it when he was an antagonist, and this definitely helped. This definitely stuffed me. It's great,
absolutely
it's great. And now I'm going to get an actual figure of this Godzilla design.
I think so too.
Actually, I'm going to look up how tall this Godzilla is.
Yeah. I'm always looking that up. As I said, the human characters were really good. The effects were really good for the low budget that it had. And yeah, I think this is probably my favorite Japanese made Godzilla film in a while. And yeah, it's not my favorite. You know, I have personal taste when it comes to Godzilla, and this didn't meet all of it for me personally, but I definitely think it will be in my top 10 if I did make a list of my favorite films. This definitely be in my top 10.
He is 398 feet. That would be about 50.1 meters. The monsterverse Godzilla is, hold on a minute. He's smaller than he is about, I don't want to say the same, it's not saying the same size. Yeah, 49 feet. He is relatively small because the original was about that same size too.
Mm.
And because yeah, it makes sense. Why? Because literally, Tomoyuki Tanaka, the guy who actually invented Godzilla. I'm sorry, I gotta go on a tangent. Okay. I gotta go on a tangent because there was a post I saw on X that someone was trying to like guilt trip Ishiro Honda for being a part of the army in World War II, even though, like I said in this before, that most men were forced to be in the Japanese army, and he constantly has said many times, I have had to do things in that war that I hate about it. And he's constantly talked about it because Ishiro Honda was anti-war. He did not invent Godzilla. That was Tomoyuki Tanaka. Get it right. You're going to run your mouth about trying to dissuade a man who repeatedly during his time on this earth tried to be as anti-war as anyone could be. Don't run it if you can't stand it.
Sorry, that's my relatives laughing.
It's a hyena.
Yeah, I apologize. Well, let's close out before it gets worse. I'm giving Godzilla -1 and A-. I think it's very, very well done. Definitely one of the best of the year. Go see it if you haven't. Even if you're like, I don't want to read a movie, Japanese subtitles. Go watch it anyway. This is coming from someone who prefers English dub over everything else. You will enjoy this movie.
Plus, I think it's getting a dub. So,
man, why did they just release it with the dub and the Japanese together?
I think they did do that. I think I've heard people actually seeing the dub. Like one day it was the sub, one day it was the dub. I believe
I was looking for that and I didn't see it.
Like I said, I could possibly be talking out of my butt. No, I'm wrong. There was no dub.
Yeah, there was no dub. I would have went to a dub.
I think I got it confused with Shin Ultraman because, like I said, like the day I saw they were doing the sub, and then the next day they were doing the dub. But no, this one is just gotten subs. Please don't let subtitles dissuade you from seeing this movie. It is fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
It is fantastic. It is it definitely is a showcase of what Godzilla can be in this day and age. And for I don't give letter ratings. I give it an absolute positive, a high positive rating. Go see it. Go see it. Go see it in theaters. Go see it when it comes on digital. Go see it when it's even on streaming. Go see it. Let Toho know we want more of this. We want more wide distribution of these movies, and not just like one week, and then if you missed out that week, sorry, you have nothing. go see it. Highly go see it.
This will pave the way for anime for people that want more than limited releases. And One Piece on Netflix is paving the way. We're about to get Yu Yu Hakusho, and
I think that's out now.
Oh, it's out already.
I think,
okay,
the Yu Yu Hakusho live action's out. But yeah, let them know from Super Riot Productions. Let them know we want more wide releases for Ultraman, not just Fathom events. Let them Toei know so we can get more Kamen Rider stuff. Let them know. Talk with your money. That's how we can get things happening. Money talks.
Money talks, definitely. But that is our overall thoughts and breakdown of Godzilla -1. Tell us, what did you guys think about it? If you guys have seen it, did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? How does it compare to other Godzilla films for you? Let us know your thoughts. Comment down below. So now that we have gotten that out the way, I think it's a perfect time to announce that in 2024, I'm pretty sure it's obvious, but in 2024, it's going to be the return of MonsterVerse in review. We are going to talk about the Monarch show when we eventually watch that. And of course, we're going to talk about Godzilla x Kong, the New Empire, when it comes out as well. So tune in for those when it comes out. But if you guys enjoyed this podcast, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And please don't forget to hit the bell if you want to be notified of future videos I'll be doing. Almost at 500 subscribers. I know I said I hit 500 subscribers a while ago, but then I lost them. I don't know what happened, but help me get back to 500. That would be great. Anything you want to plug before we end it?
Nothing really. You can find me on most social media at Nick Holson. I really don't post a lot on social media, so I don't have any plugs.
Fair enough. Well, that is all we have for you Kaiju Monster fans, and we will see you guys next time. Happy holidays to all of you. Hope you guys have a good holiday in the new year, and we'll see you guys next time. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.